This is Douth. This is a Neolithic passage tomb, and it is one of 3 famous passage tombs. I'm trying to avoid the mountains of sheep shit everywhere. It's one of 3 Neolithic passage tombs on this famous bend in the Bóinne River in County Meath. 3 tombs are Newgrange, which is the most famous. It aligns with the rising sun and the winter solstice. There is Nouth, which has the densest volume of Neolithic rock art in Europe. And then there is Douth, which was blown up by the Royal Irish Academy in 1847. So there's a massive crater in the top of it, in the middle of it, where they tried to excavate the roof. And an unbelievable botched attempt at archaeology. I'll insert a picture because I don't like climbing on top of giant ancient graves. The Irish government are after buying a huge plot of land here to make Ireland's newest national park. Although it's a relatively big piece of land they bought, it's still pretty small in terms of national parks in Ireland. So I reckon there'll be a lot of development, paths put in, and there'll probably be some camping restrictions.
Similar sites like Lough Crew and Westmeath have camping bans to protect the ancient monuments, so it isn't unreasonable to think it could be implemented here too.
I couldn't resist this maybe being my last chance to come down late on a Wednesday evening and see if I can get in a little camp down by the old well next to the tomb of the ancestors. And what a night for it. The lighting here is cracking. Anyway, I left all my camping gear in the car. I haven't had a full camping bag on my back in a while. It's actually not too bad. This is my first camp of the year. It's a bit of an odd place to camp really, because it's not like I'm in the mountains or in a forest or anything. I'm just off a road at a public monument, surrounded by sheep. I don't know how nocturnal sheep are, but I think I'm about to find out. It may be a bit of a hipster point of view, but between here and Newgrange, I think Douth is a bit more true to its form. Newgrange is a modern reconstruction of what they're pretty sure Newgrange looked like in its height. Douth here, this bit that wasn't blown up, it looked like this 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. This thing is thought to be the oldest out of the 3 tombs. And it's because of the construction inside of it. It's a little bit more primitive to the other ones. Newgrange, the roof in Newgrange has drainage built into it. This is 5,300 years ago. It has plumbing. You think of like Romans when you think of like diverting water. But the Neolithic Irish, they were doing it, man. They were doing it here. There's a man in a cowboy hat in the cemetery over there. I'm sort of waiting until everybody leaves. I'm just walking around looking a little shifty. He's hopping the fence. Why is there a man in a cowboy hat here? This is the well of Shan Khan, who was supposed to be the son of the god Lu, which would mean that this well has to be thousands of years old and was probably used by the people who built Douth, which is just over there. Unfortunately now it stinks, and it seems to be where the sheep are getting their water, which is not great. Hopefully this gets a bit of a renovation when the national park is built. All right, I'm just a couple of minutes walk from the tomb, and I have this little hill where there's not much sheep shit at all, with a cracking little view. I think this is the spot. This is about as tucked away as I can get. If anybody else comes into the cemetery, they'll be able to see a tent nuzzled in over here. I think I'll find a flat piece here and go for it. Another little tent. It's been a while. I left some earplugs in here. That is not bad. I'm sure that audio is delightful. This is my Laba Biog for the night. And the Van Gogh Banshees, they're a tight fit. Why is there always a cow spying on me through a fence? Are you getting that? Oh, it's hot. In Ireland, you're technically not allowed to wild camp anywhere. There's no right to roam or anything here. It's just sort of a thing that people do. It's not an enforced law. But I couldn't help but think that when this place becomes a national park, that it's going to be so small in comparison to the other national parks in Ireland that they're going to have to have restrictions on it when it comes to camping. And I'm kind of all right with that because it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I'm respectful of these places. I leave no trace. I have great respect for the magnitude of a Neolithic passage tomb, you know. Whereas a couple of years ago, there was one vandalised in Sligo. So there are idiots out there who are going to mess with stuff. But this is probably the last chance me or anybody else will get to camp here. Now it is the Irish government, so it could be a couple of years before they actually open the place as a national park. Black tea isn't that bad. There is a story connected to Doubt. There was a tower being built at Doubt, and it was said that it was so that the tower could get people into heaven, which sounds like something that was probably added afterwards.
The king, Bresel Bo Divad, wished the tower to be built within a day. So his sister stopped the sun in the sky so the workers could continue indefinitely.
And then, for whatever reason, her and her brother commit incest. And this breaks the curse, and the sun sets, and the work never gets finished. And that's why it's called Doubt, or Dovet, which means darkness in Old Irish. It's a bit of a weird story, but it's definitely related to the winter solstice, and the setting sun here at the winter solstice aligns with the chamber inside of it. I'm going to get into my tent now because it's getting pretty dark, and I'll see you in the morning. Ihawa. Imagine what? Nice morning. I think I was intruded on once by a sheep last night. I heard something just walking around the perimeter of my tent, and it manifested itself in a dream as a farmer walking up to my tent, and I woke up in a panic for a second and then realised there's a sheep walking around my tent. There was also a cow asleep right beside the fence I was sleeping beside. They make some mad noises in their sleep. I've never slept next to a cow before. It is unbelievably nice here. It only occurred to me last night. I'm asleep next to an ancient gravesite. And right behind me there is a modern gravesite. That should have been real spooky, but I never really thought of it as a spooky thing. I was like, oh, you're sleeping in between loads of dead people. That's a normal thing to do. Anyway, it's 6 o'clock. The sun is just popping its head up over the horizon now. The dawn chorus here this morning was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. It was like somebody just switched it on. It was just so completely silent. The odd little bell. And then all of a sudden, about 5:30, it was just huge amounts of birds chirping and singing. Just all of a sudden. These mornings when I'm in somewhere like this, and you get these misty, foggy mornings with all these trees and the sheep and all, it's a bit Jane Austen-y, isn't it? Just waiting for Mr. Darcy to just zip across on a horse there. Black coffee is so much better than black tea. It's cold. I think my sleeping bag's rated to 3 degrees, which really means there's 6 or 7. I'd say I got to about 5 last night. Having a coffee and breakfast at the spot. Sun is just after popping its head up. Birds are singing everywhere. The air is fresh. Getting these sorts of mornings when you wake up in the fog just before the sun comes up. That's the key. That's what it's all about. I was thinking when I was on my way here that maybe I would only drink out of Shan Khan's well. My God, that was never happening. Poor old Shan Khan's well. Shan Khan's owl lad, Lou. He's like one of the big well-known gods in sort of Celtic Europe. I think there's a town in Galicia in Spain that's named after him. There is, I think, Lyon in France. I think that name comes from Lou. And then County Louth in Ireland. However, when I was looking at the archaeological map here the other day, it says that Shan Khan is one of Lou's 7 sons. Anywhere else that I read or looked up, it says that Lou only has 2 sons, Cuchulainn and the other person, I can't remember their name. God, imagine being Cuchulainn's half-brother. That'd be awful. I mean, Cuchulainn was a bit of a shitebag. He killed his son, he cheated on his partner. I feel like Cuchulainn's half-brother, whenever somebody asked him who his dad was, and he'd be like, "Oh, is Cuchulainn your brother?" He'd be like, "Oh, yeah. And what was the story with him and Maeve and all that? Did he actually bait the shite out of like every warrior in Ireland one by one?" That's what he says. Yeah. And come here, what was the story with Ferdia and Cuchulainn? Bit of gossip around the town about those 2 lads. I guess that's the tree where all the birds are waking me up. Terribly sorry for eating and talking at the same time. I was starving this morning. I'm gonna get out of here, I think. I'm gonna start packing up. No trace has been left. I think I'm satisfied with my stay beside the old Douth Neolithic passage tomb. It wasn't nearly as spooky as it should have been, but it was quite calming and relaxing, and I felt safe here. Who knows what the future is for Douth National Park over the next couple of years, but hopefully they do a job on Shan Khan's well. Anyway, that's it from me. See you in the next one. Slán go fóill.